Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Miss Colleen Jones. She is our guest today on Detroit is Different. And I met this young lady, 3 years ago?
3 years,
yeah. That's crazy. Through the Juneteenth Jubilee Detroit Committee. And when I tell you guys, like I said, I'm really big on highlighting women who are just doing their thing. Like, I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to lift each other up. And when I really didn't even know what to expect to get on the committee, but when I met Colleen, just always cool, always personable, and she was just like, yeah, so I'm going to do this for Juneteenth, and I got the kids section and arts, and yeah, I got it. And I was like, okay, well, do you need anything else? What do we need to do to support you? Woo, woo, woo. She's like, I'm good. Like, yeah, I got this. I'll do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll add that. Just always cool. But the thing that was just so beautiful about it, like, she's the art director for our committee, but also, like, she did an amazing program within the overall spectrum of Juneteenth. And just last year, I, and maybe 3 other committee members were able to do something in 2 weeks for Juneteenth, okay? Because remember that? Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
It was. Because they, with COVID and everything, they were like, yeah, nobody's going out. And then she finally opened up the state. And thankfully, Colleen came through like a superhero. So, anywho, like I said, I know you from the realm of Juneteenth, but let's start with your Detroit story. Where are your parents from? Are you a Detroiter? Give me your background.
So I'm from Romulus. From Romulus, we moved to Livonia. I moved to Detroit after I graduated. I went to Wayne State University.
Nice.
So that started my whole Detroit journey for real. My family, my mama's from Romulus.
Okay.
Her people from Alabama. My daddy is from, first Missouri, then moved on over to Toledo. So we're all pretty much newer Detroiters, you know? So yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So Wayne State, huh?
Yeah.
What did you major in at Wayne State?
Business management.
Okay.
It was like the first thing that I could think of. I didn't want to go to college for real. I was like, I don't want to go to college, so what's going to be easy? I was wrong. It wasn't easy, but it was business.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be easy.
Hey, that is so real. I understand because I went to Bowling Green and signed up for business too. And while there, when I saw the math classes, I said, I'm sorry, why do I need pre-calculus for business?
Yes.
Like
3 statistics, like for what? Why?
For what? Like, who made this curriculum?
Okay.
And why? Like, I just need to know how to crunch numbers and
that's it.
That's it. Like, percentages, like the basics. I don't understand.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's what's up. So Wayne State. So tell me a little bit more about your experiences there, because I always wonder about that with because, I went to school in Bowling Green and then Michigan State. So being in the area, like, what was that like at Wayne State?
So I did stay on campus for 1 year. I stayed 2 years. I stayed at Atchison and I stayed at the Union. That was like a apartment off campus, but it was on campus, But I think going to Wayne State, I was shocked by the amount of non-black people that was there. And I was also surprised at how low the graduation rate was for black people. And it was discouraging. I almost left Wayne State. I almost left college, period, because I was like, okay, this is my 4th year. And they was right. I still got 1 more year to go. And I was so disheartened. But that happened to be a story for a lot of my friends who also went to Wayne State. No one really graduated in 4 years.
Wow.
It was hard because it wasn't even like the curriculum was hard. It was almost like we were getting toyed with by counselors. So it was like, what is that? Because we all passed, and none of us are bad students, but none of us are graduating on time. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So, 5 years I got out. Wayne State I joined BSU. That was a great experience.
So for people who don't know what BSU is, tell us what BSU is.
Yeah, so it's the Black Student Union. So I joined that. I was involved in a lot of group discussions and everything with them. I think I kind of teetered off when I left campus. So if I would have stayed on campus, anybody who's on campus, stay on campus, join BSU, and just be really, really involved. And that was like my saving grace there. Because honestly, I was like, there's not enough black people here for me. And I don't like it. You know, I went to school in Livonia, so I was always surrounded around a lot of white people. So I was like, I want to go to Wayne State. It's in Detroit. Of course, it's going to be all of us there. It wasn't, but I found my tribe.
Right. No, and that's real, because like you know, we have safe spaces for a lot of different ethnic and cultural groups, and it's just so important, because even for me, like, I know I was part of Black Graduate Student Association at Michigan State, and then I was a part of BAM at Bowling Green, because it's important to have a safe space when you are at a predominantly white institution.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That is funny, because you're right. I would have never thought that Wayne State would not have had.
No, it's not it's not that many of us.
Right, like
it's wild.
Right, exactly, in the heart of the city. So that's interesting. So at Wayne, what would you say was like one of your more challenging classes?
It would be statistics. Statistics. But I had an amazing professor. I can't remember his name, but he would let us, he knew the class was ridiculous, right? So he would let us like take a huge piece of paper and we could write on both sides. So I would take little tiny notes. The only problem I had was making sure I could take the test in under an hour and a half. Okay. Because I had so many notes, I didn't even know where to reference. But I did well. I got an A, so it's all good.
What's up. Okay. So, and that's what I find funny in regards to you and knowing you, because it's like, she's one of the few people I know who has like mathematical and business sense, but also is very artsy. So tell me a little bit about your art background and experiences. Like, what all do you do on the art level?
Yeah, so I grew up with a very artistic family. Yeah, very artistic. My daddy played. My mama was the choir director. My uncle, he is the owner of Plowshares. Like, it's just very artsy fartsy. So the artist thing, it wasn't like a weird thing that we kind of hopped into, but my family has managed to be a functional artist. Okay. So I think I grapple. I have to work on that functional artist thing. Juneteenth has actually helped me immensely be a functional artist, because I'm like, okay, deadlines. All right, you can't write when you feel like it. You can't reach out to people when you feel like it. So, I'm a poet. I'm getting back into singing and all of that good stuff. Yeah. Working with Melodic. Yes. He's a producer here. He's great all over the open mic scene. I do a lot of open mic stuff. Not so much anymore since after quarantine, but now that the world is opening, I'm excited to hop back into more open mics. I curate different events, help curate different events. Juneteenth, of course, is one. There's Swoon for the Moon. I worked with Energetic Investments. Well, I founded it, and then, now we do collaborative stuff. Nice. Lifted Literacy and Arts was like a baby that was birthed out of Juneteenth also. So, just pretty much everything in the artist community. Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. Yeah. Do you draw also, or?
I do, but I don't like to, so I just don't. It is not anything I like doing, but if I have to, I'm like, okay, I got to make this flyer, I got to make this artwork, like, let me get this done, but I'd rather not.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So you said poetry, singing, and just, you mentioned a few of the businesses that have come out of you being a functional artist, as you say.
Yes. Learning.
Girl, by not learning, you definitely are. Definitely. So you always have stuff in order, this, that. I never have to worry with working with you. Yes. So tell me a little bit about Lifted Literacy and Arts.
So Lifted Literacy and Arts, it kind of came from a program I read that I was doing with Miss Valentine, Latricia Valentine. That's Urban Link Village. And we would just read with the kids at Renaissance Village on 7 Mile and Evergreen. And we would read with them. Tuesdays and Thursdays we would read with them. And then I was like, oh, I like this, literacy aspect and all of that. So then I decided I wanted to work with children and youth, and even, you know, some adults here and there, but I really focus on children and youth. Just get more acclimated and learn to read, because a lot of our kids really don't know how to read. I had my son that sparked the flame. My son was like 1 year old reading, and I was like, ooh, he's reading and he's 1. I'm like, these kids can do it. Yeah, these kids can do it. And to be honest, I really didn't do nothing but just make sure he didn't listen to nothing but the ABCs.
Really?
Yeah. I tortured myself, I felt like, a little bit. I was like, ooh, I can't listen to none of my Sada Baby and all that good stuff. I was like, I got to listen to these ABCs. I taught him Swahili first because it's phonetic. And so I was like, okay, he's going to learn how to read phonetic things. English is weird, so everything's not phonetic. You can't.
Right.
But Swahili, everything's pretty phonetic. So I had him. I saw the post on for Juneteenth Jubilee, and I was like, boom, okay. I am Juneteenth. I think that's a great program. I had a couple of poems like already wrote for Juneteenth just because I wanted to write them. I was inspired to write them. But then I saw the post on Facebook. I don't really remember how I found the post. I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm so glad you did, because I just
like,
threw
I'm
it
about to
out
go.
there. Like.
Right. I was like, I'm about to go. I see this post that says Charles H. Wright. I'm going.
Yeah.
So I went, and I was like, this is a good opportunity for Lifted Literacy and Arts to have like their first big program, and it just ended up being at Charles H. Wright. So yeah.
Nice. So Swahili, huh?
Yeah, Swahili.
Give me an example of like the phonetics in Swahili versus like English.
So Swahili, every letter actually sounds like what it's supposed to. If you have a word, you can just read the word as long as you know the alphabet. Okay. Right? So their alphabet's pretty similar, but like I think G is like G. To be honest, my son knows all these different languages. Me, I know English, I know a little bit of French, and when I read Swahili, I can read it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, my son, because I taught him that language first, my son now he's like doing Greek, Yoruba. He wants to learn Coptic, which is like a older Arabic language, I think. Okay. Russian, just random languages. He's obsessed with language now.
That's good.
But yeah, he's real, like that Swahili thing, he's real good. Me, I was just watching it with him. It was Akili and Me on YouTube. Anybody with toddlers, anybody with toddlers and babies, have them watch Akili and Me on YouTube. Put your headphones in if you got to, because it's that repetitive thing. But when he was younger, I was learning it too. Yeah. Now he done took off with it, and I'm like, I don't know any of it. Right. He be looking at me saying stuff. I don't know what he's saying.
I love that, just because it's like I wasn't really privy to like language or even it being like a discriminatory thing until like I got older. So I had gone to a professional development, and there was a lady who was an ethno-linguist there, right? Okay. And her name was Noma Leon or Noma something. I don't remember the last name, but she was talking about how like in a lot of different languages from the continent, it's a like consonant vowel type of pattern. Yes. So when our people were basically enslaved and brought over here, trying to learn English, it was difficult. Yeah. But the problem was that since nobody, of course, well, I'll say this, people did progressively, but initially nobody was interested in educating African Americans, you know? And unfortunately, trying to pick up on the language and things of that nature, it just, as she was saying, naturally did not make sense for our people. But once enslavement was over, technically, like, we were just pushed out there, like, figure it out, you know? And so our kids wound up going to school and being pathologized. Right. Whereas, like, other immigrants come to America and then they get help through services through the government with ESL and all of that. Right. And so, like, when she brought that to my attention from that PD, I was like, oh my God.
Isn't it crazy?
It is, because it's so many things in English when you really think about it, just like don't make sense.
It don't make any sense.
Yeah. Like,
not at all.
Laughter and daughter, for instance, like it's an L and a D, but the rest of it is the same. Right. But it's pronounced and mean totally
completely different. And that's why I'm so big on embracing AAVE, which is African American Vernacular. My son, as smart as he is, he can read. I'm telling you, he can read so well, and he is so smart. But my son would look at me and be like, something about I was gonna da 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 da, and someone would say, okay, you should correct him. I was going to, but I don't correct my son. My son is smart. I don't have to correct him. He say do instead of though. He say business instead of business.
Yep.
I'm not about to correct them. In my writing, I embrace AAVE. So I say I be a lot in my writing just because that's what flows out. It don't necessarily flow out, oh, I am. And then I was taught also, I can't think of her name. I cannot think of her name, but it was an older lady who was at my dad's house. And I kept correcting myself with like, I am. And instead of I be, but she could hear me like trying to correct myself. And she was like, I am is your God body. You don't have to say I am. Slaves didn't say I be because they was ignorant. They said I be because they refused to say I am, because I am is their God body. Right. So you would say, instead of saying I am tired, like, oh no, my God body's not tired. But I be tired in this moment. I be tired. So I was like, okay, embrace it. Okay.
Tell me a little bit more about this God body. Like, I'm feeling all what? I'm feeling all godliness now.
Period. Okay. I think for me it's more, I think it's different for everybody. For me, it's like when I'm operating at my highest self, right?
Okay.
So like I really am real serious about that. I am, like, you will never hear me be like, I am sorry, because I'm not ever sorry, but I apologize, but I'm never sorry, So that that speaks to my God body. So I feel like it's kind of like everything that you aspire to be, which you are, right? Because everything that you aspire to be is obviously who you are, because it's in you. That's why you aspire to be it.
Right.
But it is just operating in your absolute highest self. So there's times where I'm not operating in my highest self, and I have to tap into, who are you, Colleen Ivana Jones? Are you mean? No, you're not mean. And you could, and your higher self would talk nicer. You know what I'm saying? Your higher self would be kinder. So, it's just a reminder to operate in highest self. So like when I do my affirmations, that's like me speaking to my God body, me speaking to my higher self.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So before we get into these affirmations, because I'm really loving, matter of fact, we're just going to go into these though, because I think that's such a pivotal thing that we just don't do. Like, we know it's power in words, and you even talking about how you educate your son and the importance of education. I just think it's so like interesting that you say affirmation. So what got you into that? Like, where did you first learn about the whole concept of affirming oneself, and how do you go about developing these affirmations?
My daddy, I would have to be honest. My daddy, he was big on speaking to our higher selves. He was big on us saying, he was big on words. Okay. So me and my sisters, we play with each other a lot. We say like little sister snide comments or whatever. We'd be like, "Are you stupid?" And my daddy would be kind of in the background, like, "Don't call each other stupid." And I never understood it when I was a kid, because I'm like, we just playing, Daddy. It's not, But he was so serious about being so intentional with your words and meaning what you say. So you say, "I love you," because you love that person. Even if you're mad at them, you say, "I love you," or you're just really just making sure you don't say anything that you really can't come back from, type thing. He was real big on that. So words have always been, but my dad's a writer too, so words have always been a important thing for our family, like just minding your words. And just not saying anything that's going to break you down. So if I say, "Oh, I can't do it," or I give up, like, I was never really allowed to say stuff like that, like I can't do it, or everything was possible, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? So when I heard of affirmations, it was like I had already been doing it. Okay. Yeah, I had already been doing it, but subconsciously. Now it's like, okay, when I got into college, there was a class, I forgot, Lisa Nichols. Okay. I went, she had like a seminar, but it was online, and she was talking about affirming yourself and speaking to yourself in the mirror and doing these affirmations. And so I started it when I was in college, and I would just speak to myself. But at that time, it was like, I am good, I am kind, I am, but now I can be more intentional with it. And like one of my favorite affirmations I say is like, I am gifted with divine discernment and forgiveness, because I know those are two things I struggle with, right? Like discernment, because I want to think that everybody's nice. So sometimes my discernment be a little, and then forgiveness, because I be thinking I'm forgiven, but I ain't that forgiven. So, so I just affirm myself every day, because it's like a reminder, work on it, Vonnie. Like, you have divine discernment, you have the forgiveness in your heart. So operate like that as you move through the day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like that. I like that. So do you speak over your son as well?
Yes, we do. We definitely do. Me and my son, we say a prayer at night.
Okay.
So, and he's like, right now he is like, God, Jesus. I don't know. I think it was like his grandma's really instilled God, Jesus, and that whole thing. So he prays. We pray a lot.
That's
and he
good.
enjoys praying. And then after the prayer, we're like, I am good. I am brave. Because my son, the big one is I'm brave. Because my son, he like my little mini Chucky from Rugrats. I love him so much. He just like, it's like he like wants to be scared of everything. So he has that triumphant moment.
Right.
So everything is like, oh, I'm scared. Only because he wants to achieve it.
Right.
So right now we're like, I am brave. I'm brave consistently. I'm good because he's a toddler. You know how toddlers be. We have to enforce that he is good.
Right. Like, exactly.
Right. Especially you had a bad day all day. You get in trouble all day. He probably like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything right. So at the end of the day, I'm always like, you are so good, Right. So I'm a king. He loves that one. So yeah, he loves affirmations.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love to hear it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's really great. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm just glad to hear that because the just speaking to parents and just I think it's a really big thing to even have the task to raise a child, and let alone you have a black son. So raising him to have a sense of self-worth, but also like you got a lot because now you're also, as he gets older, going to have the burden to teach him about society versus who he is in regards to himself. So
for sure.
I commend you for that, and starting them early because that's so important.
Yeah, that was really important to me. I think before my relationship with black men was very questionable before I had a son. Okay, it was very questionable. But when I found out I was going to have a son, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to have a son. So you got to fix whatever this is in you that you have, maybe against black men. You know what I'm saying? There was like a little bitter seed that was planted, but then I just had to uproot it. You know what I'm saying? And it helped when I had a son. And then also it's crazy because you talk about preparing him for society. I had exposed my son to slavery, right? And he didn't. It was like he was watching it, but he wasn't really watching it. Right. And at the end of the movie, he said to me, Mama, I want one of them Africans. I was like, no, what did you watch? I was like, what did you watch? So then I really had to break it down. And it was so funny. I had to break it down. And I just kept hearing my daddy. My daddy, when I was younger, he made us watch this movie, this Emmett Till movie. And I remember I was like, Daddy, I don't want to look at that. And he was like, you're not getting up from this table. So you look at Emmett Till in the casket. And I think, how old was I? Maybe 7, 8. And I was like, why is he making me look at this casket? I didn't understand it till that moment when I tried to sugarcoat slavery for my baby and he decided that he wanted one of them Africans. I was like, this is why my daddy didn't sugarcoat it. Here we go. So me and my son, we've been on it with that, like this whole societal aspect of it. Even as 4 years old, you know what I'm saying? Start them young.
Yeah, you do, because you're absolutely right. I mean, and even though it may sound weird to our listeners when they hear this, but it makes a world of difference because even going back to your affirmations with saying like I am good, because you're right, people automatically think like, oh, they toddlers, they young, they gonna be bad, or they running amok. And it does start in school, and it can start early, because even for myself, like, I thank my mother for empowering me, but like I wasn't conventionally bad, I'll say, but I've always been like whatever I just wasn't on it, you know? But that's a form of empowerment when you think about it,
for
like
sure,
to stand by what you decide you don't want to do,
period.
But again, I remember being in kindergarten and not having multiple recesses. Like I was always on lockdown. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Just because you was your own person.
Just 'cause I was
that was my
person.
biggest thing with my son is I was like, okay, now he's going to school. I was like, I wasn't going to send him to DPS because I was like, I don't even know where to send him, right? Now I'm banging on DPS door trying to get my son in. But I wasn't going to send him at first. And I was like, okay, so I was exploring other options. And I was like, none of this is going to work for me because my baby, first of all, he's a little black boy.
Yeah.
He's smart as I don't know what, but he when he gets bored, it's almost like nothing matters anymore. No rules exist. His mind is no longer occupied. So I'm like, I gotta send him to a school not only challenges him, but also with some black teachers who will understand this little black boy ain't doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta tell him to sit down and give him something to do. Like that's it. Instead of him getting in trouble, I see so many children getting in trouble for being bored. My mama was one of them. She got in trouble for being bored. I got in trouble for being bored.
Yeah.
It's just not challenging, you know what I'm saying? But then we was little black kids, so it's like, and then we were in Livonia at that, getting in trouble, but we just bored. We don't have nothing to do. We're bored. We done read the whole book.
Right. It just doesn't interest me.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, because I can recall specifically a time where I got in trouble because I didn't want to find the gingerbread man.
Okay.
Like, I read the story.
Nonsensical. Why am I looking for the gingerbread man?
I'm not about to eat that dusty mug anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not.
Put you in trouble for it.
Right.
What?
And she like literally got a call to my mama. And my mom was like, wait a minute, wait. Like, did she read the story? She was like, yeah. Is she disrupted anybody else? She was like, no. She was like, so this is just, it's not
nonsensical, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But the whole thing is just a matter of, like you said, with sharing your experiences and your mother as well as raising your child. If you start to hear that narrative of what your personality is wrong or is bad, then that's what you will start to become. You
Absolutely.
know?
I see so much of me and my child. I thought that when I had a little boy, I was going to get away with like having a little me, but he is like me plus testosterone. So it's like, woo. But I see so much of him in me. But I think that when I was younger, it was more of a like, you need to not be too loud. You know what I'm saying? Don't be too opinionated. Don't be, it was okay to have an opinion, but it was like politeness over having an opinion almost. You know what I'm saying? So my son, when he started being able to be like, no, I don't want to hug. Yes, I do want to hug. And he was able to voice it. The first time he ever said, Mommy, I don't want to hug, I was like, I'm going to give him a hug anyways. But then I didn't do it because my body wouldn't let me do it because I said he really don't want to hug. And if I teach him at the age of 3, you know what I'm saying, that when he says he doesn't want to be touched or when he says he doesn't want to engage, that and people and you force it on him and it's okay for people to force it on him, he's going to be like that when he gets older. And I'm like, I'm not raising no pushover. I don't want him to have to, I don't want this to have to be something he struggles with, because for me it was that, and that's why I have to say to myself all the time that I have divine discernment, because when I was younger, I had the discernment, but it was like, no, you need to be polite. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was so bent on us being polite. But me and my sisters, we really not like super, we polite. But you know what I'm saying? We not the most agreeable women.
Right.
So,
I mean, and why should you be? Like,
I had to learn it was okay. I had to get older and be like, oh, it's okay not to be agreeable.
Right.
Better than that than a pushover, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. And it is a very real thing that we grapple with as women, and especially black women, you know, because like I said, if it wasn't for Charlene telling me like, what you got to lose? All they could say is no, or all they could do is this. Like even though she minimized other people's like influence, it still just made me a little bit more, I mean, or should I say, was it more or less fearless? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, more fearless. Yeah. I think that's the word.
Right. Right. We talking about words. Like, it's fearless. Right. Fearless. Yeah. So,
that makes sense.
Right. Exactly. But that's what's up. So I just want to go back for a minute because, I mean, if you feel like expounding upon it, you had mentioned like your relationship with black men. Yeah. And how you had to do a little soul searching with that. Did. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, for me, I could, now that I'm at the place where this is how it goes back to that divine discernment and forgiveness thing, right? I was forced to forgive a lot of black men growing up, like from birth. You know, I felt like I was like always put in a position where I'm like always having to forgive. So I became very unforgiving, like as I got older, right? And I realized that unforgiveness was actually turning me like kind of mean. I was like, oh, I'm a little mean. I'm a little bitter. And, you know, I'm almost like projecting onto every man who came around me. I'm projecting that I'm going to have to be put in a position to forgive them. So I was like, I ain't going to get that close because I'm not about to keep being in a position where I got to keep forgiving somebody. You know, so I went from one extreme to the next extreme, you know, with my child's father, I really had to learn forgiveness there, right? Because I was like, we birthed this child together, da 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 da. And I had to just, I realized that I didn't really see black men as human.
Interesting.
I didn't really see black men as human for real. I saw them as workers. You know, I had grandfathers who just worked with their hands. They didn't really do much talking, right? They worked with their hands. They took care of the family. That's the black man's role. I used to have a problem. This is like the craziest thing. I used to have a problem with seeing men sleeping, like specifically black men, because I didn't really interact with white men like that. But I used to, if I was walking into a house and it was like, say it was 6 o'clock and everybody was up and a black man was sleeping, he was sleeping. I'm like, what is he sleeping for? He should be working. He should be doing this. It was like I didn't see them as human. I saw them as like robots. I didn't give them space for emotions. Yeah, it was. But at the same time, I realized all of that came from me not being able to have a safe space in men with my emotions, right? I always felt like I had to toughen up and you know what I'm saying, be like a little trophy for them and do all that. And I resented that. So I was like, if I can't have feelings, you can't have feelings. When in all honesty, we just need to let each other have feelings, you know?
Right. We just all need to feel.
I had to heal that. I was like, I got a little boy now. I'm like, I do not want him to have a wife or a significant other or whatever when he gets older who's not a safe space. But I was like, I can't be a safe space for my son if I'm not a safe space for myself. And so that's how I really healed the relationship with black men, is really working on being a safe space for self and my own emotions so that I can allow these men to have emotions too.
Yes. I love that. I mean, well said.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of emotions, you know, a lot of people express their emotions through art.
Yeah.
And I went to one of your, I guess it was an open mic / birthday there. I don't know what it was, but when I tell y'all, it was, the walls were sweating that thing. Like, boy, you had it packed, because we all know, like, with poetry and with music, it gives people a platform to express themselves emotionally in art. So, you know, like, I don't stop doing the open mics and giving people these platforms to be, because truly, like, from the turnout that I saw that you had with people there, people need a space. And like
for
you
sure.
said, a safe space for artists, you know? So, yeah, I definitely respect that. So just thinking of some of the things that you are into with the open mics, and we talked a little bit about lifted literacy and arts. Tell me about Luxana. What is that product and brand about?
Yes. So there's Luxana by Vonnie Pill, there's Luxana Body, and then Luxana Locs. So I am a loctician, so I do locks and twists. That's where Luxana Locs comes in. You can follow that at Luxana by Vonnie Pill. You can follow all Luxana stuff by Luxana by Vonnie Pill. And then Luxana Body is a skincare line. So right now we have a body oil out, almost like an after shower. I use the after shower. It's hair and body, but it's jojoba oil and sweet almond oil, and then it comes like with peppermint and rosemary, and that's good for like relief. I actually came up with the peppermint and rosemary one because I got into a car accident and I fractured my sternum, and there's no cast for that. So I was just told, okay, you got to breathe deep. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what type of doctor instructions these are. So I was just, So I'm like, okay, let me just put something together that's going to make me feel good. So I started rubbing it all over my body, and it made my muscles kind of like relax and everything. And I was like, yes, peppermint, rosemary, it works. So I sell that one, and then the unscented one, and it's just for the ultimate glow. And yeah, really, I got tired of wearing makeup. That's how all that came about, because I'm such a makeup person. I am. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is.
Nobody would ever think.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Nobody would ever think, but I wore makeup my whole life.
Wow.
I wore makeup when my mama told me I could wear a lip gloss, and I was like, what? Did she tell me I could wear? I'm about to tell her myself. She might not tell me, but I was like in 5th grade, and I was putting on lip gloss. And ever since then, I would take makeup into school when I was in 7th grade, and I would put it on my face. And I just loved a full face of makeup all the time. And it was like quarantine hit, and I was like, I'm not about to wear this makeup stuff anymore. Nobody ever really thinks. People who know me now, they like, you wear makeup? And I'm like, yeah, I used to do full-blown faces. Yeah. But when I got my skin looking the way I wanted it to look, you know, I was like, screw the makeup. And it was because of that Luxana Body product. I was like, I'm glowing. I don't even really need to wear it for real.
Yeah. Like I said, your skin is beautiful.
Thank you.
But I do feel you though. Like I used to want to wear makeup just because I saw my mom wear makeup.
Right.
Like I would be trying to kiss her on the lips so I can get her lipstick before I left. Like, but she always kissed me like somewhere between the
right.
nose. Like, aim, woman, aim.
Right. I want the lip
right.
gloss.
Like they playing with me. So good times. But that's what's up. So how long have you been doing locks?
So I started when I went to college. I did everything. My first year of college, I was broke. So I just did anything. And really, honestly, I really liked this boy. He came to me and he was like, I want you to retwist my locks. He didn't even know I did locks. And I did it with a fork. I interlocked it with a fork. I was like, okay, this is just going to have to work. Because we was just both broke college students. We didn't even have $1 to go get a needle. You know what I'm saying? So I did it with a fork. And then after that, he was just telling his people. And I was just doing it. I was doing that, lashes, everything. So I stopped when I had my son. I graduated from college. I tried the corporate world. That didn't work out for me. I did 2 years there. What, 2 years? Yeah. That wasn't for me. So then when quarantine hit, I was like, I need a way to make money again. And I don't even remember. Someone just asked me to retwist their locks. They're like, do you do hair? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll do your hair. You know what I'm saying? My sister was encouraging me. The girl who started my son's locks, she was like, you can do this. You know how to do this. Why are you not just doing it?
Right. And
I just finally said, okay, I'm going to use my hands to make me some money. And it just took off. Yeah.
What about your hair? Did you do your hair?
I did my hair. Yep. These are look, I had to look real quick like this is my hair again. But these are hand twisted crochet braids. So I twisted all of these myself and then I installed them into crochet braids. Yeah.
You want to do my hair?
Period. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna need this. Like,
yes.
I'm changing my hair
good
soon,
new growth.
So, yeah, good new growth. That's what I need. But yes, that's what's up. Okay, so with the singing though, so we know you have the literacy and arts program, and we know about the Luxana Body Locs, which is cool. Now I want to get into the singing. Like who is Colleen as a singer? We know Colleen Ivana, and we know Vonnie Pill.
Yes. You know what? I get a lot of inspiration from older music, right? Like I loved the Judy Garlands, and I just say her name first because her voice is just so beautiful. It's like water to me. So I loved her voice, the Ella Fitzgerald, the Billie Holidays, just the older artists. But then I get a lot of inspiration also from like glam rock, which is like Prince. Yeah, I love Prince. Prince is like, I love it. Yes. It's like the flamboyancy and the words of it. All the songs mean something. I love the Beatles. The Beatles have like music where you're just like listening to it. It's a whole story. Rick Ross. I pull a lot of the literacy aspect of it and how he like, forms whole stories. Yeah. That helps me a lot with writing and Andre 3000. So it's pulled from pretty much everywhere. Okay. Every aspect. I was raised off of basically jazz, Anita Baker, gospel, and Roberta Flack. We couldn't listen to nothing else. My mama was like, it's a no. We could listen to the Gap Band too. It was crazy. We couldn't listen to the new music that was, like Silk and Jodeci and stuff. We couldn't listen to that, but we could listen to Super Freak. I'll never forget it. I'm like, Ma, this don't make no sense. We listen to Super Freak, but we can't listen to Jodeci. Right. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of inspiration from there though, just in like the sound, and I like the synthetic-y sounds a little bit, but I also like that classical jazz feel. So that's what's up. Yeah, pulling it from everywhere.
Yeah. So what is your artist name? Like your singing name, should I say?
Vonnie Pill. Okay. Everyone just Vonnie Pill is what I use for like just all artistry, just Vonnie Pill. I think that's the only time someone will call me Vonnie Pill, pretty much, is for artistry.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where did that name come from?
So Vonnie is a childhood name for Ivana, right? So I don't remember who started calling me Vonnie. Maybe my mama Sheila was like, Vonnie. But she started calling me Vonnie. I believe that's who it was. And then Pill was, I was performing one day, and this man, I don't know, he just came out of like nowhere, and he was like, you are like a black man's pill. So I said, great, I'm about to stick that for my last name. So Vonnie Pill, it just came, it just worked.
A black man's pill.
Which is hilarious because it's like, I just healed my relationship with y'all. 'Cause really, if I would have went on stage as Colleen Ivana Jones,
Right.
it would have got a whole different unhealed set.
That is so real. So tell me, like, how do you think your experiences within Detroit has helped you grow as an artist?
Oh, wow. So this is interesting. That's an interesting question because when I was in Livonia, when I was going to school in Livonia, I was really not writing like that. I really didn't write. I really didn't care to write. I was doing bad in school a lot, partially because I wasn't interested in anything. I didn't get myself together till I was probably like a senior, and I was like, I want to go to school, so let me at least get into Wayne State, right? Which isn't like a super hard school to get to. But I was like, I had to get myself together. I did go to my ACT and everything, but really I did not write there. I was so uninspired. When I moved to Detroit, Cesar Toriano, I saw him do poetry for it was after Trayvon Martin was killed. Yes. So I saw him do this piece, and he also did a piece about his son who is autistic. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am just like on fire now. Like, no, I just want to write, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. Yeah. So I started going to Motown Museum, MoCAD, DIA, and those would be the places that I would be writing at. So really, that's all Detroit, right? So it's like I just pulled it from there. I would go to the river all the time to write, experiencing different neighborhoods. So when I went from Wayne State neighborhood, right, which is like another world almost. It's weird.
It's
You're
like a little enclave in the city.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so this is weird. We got our own little police officers and everything. Like, this is strange. But I got kicked out of the union. I got kicked out of the union. I had to find an apartment quick. So I went to Palmer Park. Whole different world. So I'm like, okay, this is an interesting experience. And so I was really inspired living there because I ain't have no money. I was living in the hood. I had the nicest neighbors ever. I never trusted anybody more. I was like, dang, this is like such a duality, right? So it's like people were telling me don't move over there, but I think I got the most inspiration being there because I was one of those people who was also struggling just like that. And I was like, but I'm normal people. You know what I'm saying? I'm normal people. I'm struggling. So why are we, almost like ostracizing people who live in these areas or whatever? So I'm like, if I live here and I feel like I'm a normal human being and I'm not a bad human being, right? That inspired me a lot when it came to writing because now I was able to write from a more universal point of view opposed to just my point of view, which at one point was pretty classist if you really want to elitist almost. You got I was always on the revolutionary side, right? But it was always an elite. I had an elitist mindset until I moved to Palmer Park, and you know what I'm saying, I was like,
had to be in that setting.
Okay, humbling.
Yeah, very much so.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that. So, yeah, I can't even. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's humbling.
It very much so is. Like, I know I didn't have dental insurance, and just even having to go to UAD dental school to try to get my teeth clean, and just, like you said, just life teaches you to be thankful for the things that you have.
For sure.
Yeah.
I had to get out of Livonia. Like when I was in Romulus, it's a little more country. So it was like it was that whole aspect of gratefulness. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we left and we went to Livonia, and it was very material. Everybody had money, so it was like very material. My mama was middle class, but we was really looked at like we was poor, right? Because we didn't have like a house in Livonia. We had an apartment, then moved to a condo. But she always made good money. I was never struggling, but she also didn't have a jet in her backyard. You know what I'm saying? My other friends in Livonia, they would have jets and they're just rich. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, this is crazy. But I kind of, because of that, I know me and a lot of my friends from there, which it was interesting because it was a C hall and it was all black people, only black people in that one hall. Probably out of like 1,000 kids, it would probably be 4 black kids. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like there was not many, but we all stuck together. But I realized that we all had a very materialistic type mindset. And I was like, that's not even me for real. So when I moved to Detroit, I felt like I got to live like, my true authentic self outside of Wayne State. I had to leave Wayne State. That was a strange, like you said, a strange little neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's real though, because like you said, you really don't know until you live, you know.
For real, yeah.
But I think that's funny that you brought up like the different neighborhoods and how how they interact and the people. So from your experiences living in the city, like, how would you categorize some of the groups of people?
Oh my goodness.
You know?
So that's interesting. I used to say I would never live back on the west side, right? Because I lived on the west side and I really didn't understand it. I was like, I don't understand it. Like I didn't understand the streets. I didn't understand nothing for real, because I was always downtown or Wayne State area. So I never really experienced the west side like that. But I can say I recently moved to Southwest, and I think that this is my favorite place to be. Really? Honestly, yeah. Okay. It's interesting because it's so spotty, and I tell people all the time, like, I love my neighborhood, but don't park your motorcycle on the street. You know what I'm saying? I love my neighborhood, but you know what I'm saying? Just be safe at the same time. But like, my block is full of families. There's roosters. They got roosters in the backyard. It's really interesting. So I think Southwest is my favorite. Okay. When I lived on the east side, I was on 8 and Van Dyke, but I was on the other side. Okay. So I was in Warren. That was a no. It was like, it's so strange. It was strange living over there because we couldn't have we didn't have the Detroit police because it's out of their district, out of their bounds. Right. And then the Warren police didn't care about us because we were on 8 Mile and Van Dyke. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? It's just nothing but black people and meth heads. Like, so we was never, I could call the police out there and they wouldn't get there for 20, 30 minutes. It made me and my neighbors closer, you know? For sure. Yeah, because when something was going on, when something was going on, I would just be like, you okay, and they was the same way, but it was still like, we don't have the police to support us like that out here. When that was an interesting experience. And then I stayed, where was that? I stayed, not Palmer Park. After Palmer Park, I moved with a boyfriend. I moved with a boyfriend. I was on the west side, and I liked that area too. I want to say it was pure. It was somewhere off the Lodge. So if you get off Meyer somewhere off there, I liked it. It just seemed more. It was very family friendly. I still didn't understand any of it, and I moved back to the east side after that. But I enjoy every area that I've been in. Okay. But Southwest has been the most enjoyable. My son loves it. Okay. Yeah. I enjoy it.
Southwest is different. Like, my family is out there in Southwest. Yeah. And just like, even though you got a little hood areas and activities, everybody still know everybody, and they speak like. Oh, for sure. I don't know how many times I've been on the porch with my grandma and she just waving like, "Grandma, you know who that is?" Like, nope. But, but they wave, say what's up. Like,
it's that kind. I like the like cars out there. My street, I can go on my porch, and at in the summertime, they just got the motorcycles going back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, oh, I like this. This is enjoyable. All these people on motorcycles, so yeah,
that's for sure. But it's definitely interesting because you get a different culture of people in every little set of the city.
My only complaint is Coney Island is not popping.
What, in Southwest?
In Southwest, I do not like the Coney Islands. I still be having to go to the east side and give me some good Coney Island because it's not working in Southwest.
You can't get to 94 out there. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, in that Coney Island, you never realize how much you enjoy Coney until you somewhere you can't get it.
I was like, I tried a bunch of different items. I was like, maybe they're just not good with the chicken. Let me try the chili cheese fries. Okay, maybe let me get a Coney dog. I was like, when they didn't make the Coney dog right, I was done. Yeah. I was like, I ain't going to Coney Islands.
Like, I'm done with this. No thanks. Yeah. I feel that. But I don't know. It's just so interesting to me, though, just the dynamics in the city, Because, like, with being... Like, it's a whole nother world, even with the arts,
For sure.
Because I would have never known had I not known people who do rap or who do, like, poetry or anything of that nature, because I'm just like, man, like, I didn't even know this was happening. Like, ciphers and stuff. I'm like,
Isn't it great?
Yeah, it is.
It's like a whole hidden gem.
It is. And that's the thing about Detroit that's so interesting to me is that, like, depending on who you're around, like, that's how you were exposed to different things. Like,
For sure.
You know, cities like New York, you can walk down the street and just walk into stuff. But in Detroit, it's like, it depends on who you know.
Oh, for sure. It's just like, I feel like everything, it is like just like hidden gems for sure. When I had first came and kind of like got acclimated to the Detroit artistry scene or whatever, I was in high school still, and I was going to Red Cup sessions, and I loved those. I was like all rapping, and it was, ooh, they were so much fun. It was Bob's Classic Kicks. They had little ciphers and all of that stuff there. So I was doing that, kind of got out of that, and then just that uninspired feel. I was in Livonia still. Then I discovered Detroit poetry because of Cesar Toriano. Discovered it. Did I forget about it, or I was just real busy? I was trying to graduate. I had a baby. All of this stuff just was happening that wasn't supposed to happen. So like, right. So I kind of exactly. So I kind of like just I guess I forgot about it a little bit, or didn't have time to get involved in it. My sister came to me with an event in 2018 or 19, I forget which one. She came to me with the event. She goes, I went to the Single Mingles event, and it's at this place called 90s Knowledge Cafe. And I was like, oh, what is that? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. We went there on a Thursday to pass out flyers, and I just like fell in love with the whole art scene. And there was Cafe Melanin that I fell in love again with the art scene. It was just happening over and over again. And then finally I was like, forget it. I'm gonna perform. And I got back into performing because I'm not really I don't really like performing. I like making the music. I like making the poems, and I like, but bind it up in a book, put it in a CD. I really don't like performing like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm about to put you in front now.
Okay, period.
I mean, you don't have to sing or anything,
Yes.
but I just want to know, I guess. Well, I'm putting you in front. I don't care, whatever. So,
Period.
can you think of a Detroit haiku?
Oh, Detroit haiku. So it's 575.
Yep.
Okay. Off rip.
Off rip. Where you
Look.
at, Vonnie? Where you at?
Okay, let's see.
Yep.
Okay, Detroit is so lit. Oh my goodness. Look, oh my goodness, this is all. Detroit is so lit. Peep the art scene too. It's cool. I don't know. Peep the art scene. It's cool. Detroit is so lit. Peep the art scene. It's cool. Way better than school.
Hey,
there we go. Way better than school. Forget it. Oh my goodness. Counting. Oh, okay. There we go.
Funny.
That's so funny. You know what's so funny about that though? I need those type of reminders, because part of being a functional artist, right, is like writing on a regular, which I don't do. I'm learning to do it, right?
Yep.
But there are times where like I won't write for like 7 months, and the first people I tell who I haven't wrote to, I always tell Cesar Toriano. Every single time I tell him I'll be doing this here, like, I'm gonna be honest, I ain't wrote in like 4 months, and he's like, you want to hear a poem? You want to be inspired? You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that I need, where people are like, One Single Rose is the same thing. She was like, I want you to write a haiku. I was like, oh, all right. Sheezy Bo Beezy. He's good with throwing people out there and making sure that they write.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I forget all the time.
I mean, but you do that. You know how many people don't know what a haiku is?
That's true.
That's real.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
You're like, oh, 575.
Okay. Here we go.
But that is what's up. So, usually we do like slots of time, and this has just been such a joyous time and learning so much. And I really like the fact that you have the Lifted Literacy and Arts, Luxana Body Locs, and just Vonnie Pill in general with the music scene and the open mic scene, and just doing you. Like, you are just such an amazing woman.
Thank
and I'm
you.
so glad that, God saw it fit for us to meet, because I enjoy everything that you have brought into my life and to the committee, as well as what you're doing. And I just think it's so important to thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you for being on here, but I do have just a few questions to ask you, which is like a staple of Detroit. It's different. Okay. So first off, what was your very first car?
My very first car was okay. No, that was my mama's car. I ended up just taking that low key. It was a red Dodge Neon. I had that for 3 months. I don't know what I did to it. Honestly, the transmission blew. I was driving and it just stopped. I'm like, what did I do to this car? I abused it bad.
That's real. So where did you go? Where did you go on your red Neon?
Everywhere, because I had just learned how to drive. I was in college. I waited till I was 19 to drive. And at first I was driving my mama's car. She wasn't really that comfortable with that, right? And I was like, I want a car. So I got this Dodge Neon. I drove it through snow, and we all know they real low. I drove it through snow. I still have an issue with tires. I do not know how to not hit potholes and curbs. I'm going to be honest. I am like that typical woman driver that everybody be talking about. That is me. She is me.
I am her.
I am her, right.
That's real. Question 2. If you were a DJ at the end of the fireworks on Woodward and Jefferson, what song would you play?
Oh, what song would I play? I will play Say My Name by DMX.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why is that? Tell me a little bit.
I love DMX is now we could listen to DMX when we was younger. My daddy, he would be in one of his modes and whatever, he would be singing Party Up in Here. And I used to be like, oh, I love that song. Like I would just be vibing with it. And my mama never reminded me listening to DMX like that. I don't know why. Okay. I think it's just because of his spirit, you know what I'm saying? His spirit. The energy of it all. It's just invigorating. Even my son, he loves saying my name. We replaced the DMX. And like, you know how that's his cadence the whole time? We replaced it with CVC words. So I'll be like CATDOG. So that's my song. I'm using that one.
On to something. You might have to do some
it works.
Some ABC remixes.
For
to these
real,
rap songs.
yes.
I mean,
my son loves it.
That's really cool. Just think about it. Like,
you're right.
You might be going somewhere, buddy. I would definitely
love it.
Right, like anybody listening, do not steal her idea.
Period.
It has officially been recorded. Okay. It won't be no Kids Bop. It will be the ABCs of hip hop. Okay?
ABCs of hip hop. I love it. Period. Yes.
We're doing that. Okay, question 3. If you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Oh, Aretha Franklin. Yeah, okay. I love her. I love her energy. I love her. I don't give a F-ness. I love her just everything about her. To me she is the attitude, right, of Detroit. She is the spirit. Because she's not even like a mean person, you know what I'm saying, but she is a very tell it like it is person. And I remember I used to watch her and just watch how much she did not care. And I watched her interview with Wendy Williams and I was like, she just really don't care. She just really like, I am who I am. This is me. I'm great. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the spirit of Detroit. We is who we is. We's great.
And we great at it.
Period.
Right. We are. Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. But so, and before I conclude, my last thing is, what makes you so different?
Oh, what makes me so different?
Yes. What do you think?
Accountability. I'm huge on accountability. I think that's even in my poems and in my work, there's always a message of accountability. I do not like being victim, and so I learned that to not be victim, I have to be super accountable for every decision I make. And then can't nobody make me no victim. So,
okay. That's what's up. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Any final words before we conclude, Miss Colleen?
Thank you for having me, for sure. And y'all look out for the next Juneteenth Jubilee next year. It's going to be lit. I'm so excited.
I'm excited, too. Yes. Like, we got so much to do in store. Yes. And everything you do, for real, please keep me informed.
Yes.
And everybody, please follow Colleen Ivana Jones, Vonnie Pill, Lifted Literacy and Arts, Luxana Body Locs, and I'm trying to get my free samples.
Period.
So I'm saving for the braids. Like I just, I'll pay for my braids and see what discounts I can come up on when I get there. But yes, but thank you, Colleen, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Detroit is different. Signing off.
Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.